Good afternoon. Uh, yes. I want to start my speech with asking a question. Have you ever looked around your family and found that there is a cardiovascular disease goes on in that family, or could be diabetes, or obesity, or even could be some sort of cancer that people says it is heritable cancer, including colorectal cancer and breast cancer? And when you have found that in your family, have you thought about that since my family has it, there should be an inheritance, so I will get this disease or this disorder one day? So if you have thought that, it is totally scientific, because for a long time, science has believed that the same way, that if there is a gene inherited from parents to the offspring, one day this gene will produce the product, the diseases. So, but the case here, thus I can say as a molecular biologist, it is an old belief, because something new emerged to the field of genetics and molecular biology, which says most of the time this might not happen. So the thing which you inherited from the family might not be the same thing which you get it as your sibling has it. Right now, inside your body, there are more than 37 trillion cells are listening for you. They don't know English, not Kurdish, neither Arabic or Turkish. So they have no language that we speak with, but they have specific language. So today I'm trying to explain what is this language that happens or exists inside our body that regulate everything in our body. So the new belief in science, nowadays we understand that there are something that even controls the genetic material, the DNA, that we then consider it as the blueprint of life. And that made big scientists like Dennis Noble to suggest a new theory and publish an article in February 2024 mentioning that DNA is not the blueprint of life. So this is not easy talk to say, because it's been for 18 years, nearly 1 century, that biology science is mentioning that, yes, there is something we call a DNA, and it's a blueprint of life, and it controls everything. But we know that beside of this DNA, there is something which tells the DNA, do this, don't do this. In that hour, I need you to go with this way. In that hour, I need you to stop in this way. And that hidden language, that very silent language, we called epigenetic. It's a new era of science, specifically including molecular biology, biochemistry, and genetic as well. So what is that epigenetic? It's basically how your lifestyle decide on what is going to be happen in today, tomorrow, and even in your future life, even for future generation. So basically, this epigenetic, we concluded, or we are studying this under 3 main activities: DNA methylation, histone modification, and non-coding RNA activity. The DNA methylation, you can think about that it is something that it controls the accessibility for the specific gene to produce the specific protein, and that specific protein, of course, will make specific function. Because in that 37 trillion cells, we have more than 200 different type of cells. So more than 200 different type of cell means each cell makes a specific function that the structure of that cell, the shape of that cell, and even the function of that cell is totally different than what is in other cell. I mean, because all cell in one human body shares the same genetic material. A hair follicle that I'm just dropping now contains numbers of cells. And they have the same genetic material that my heart cell has it, or my kidney cells, or the cells which every day get shedded and we are throwing it out. So the genetic material is the same. So why and what makes this cell to be different is the phenomena or the fact that we call it epigenetic. Beside of DNA methylation, we have histone modification. DNA of each that cells is about 2 meters in long, which is taller than me. But I have 37 and more trillion cells. So how this 2 meter long DNA has been packaged in a very tiny thing which is invisible with naked eyes. We need to magnify thousands of times, then we can see the cell entirely, then more magnification will lead us to see DNA. So the magic here is the histone and the histone's activity, which is a specific protein, through different modification, it allows the cell to conclude or include all the DNA that bears. Besides, non-coding RNA, specifically microRNA, takes a huge role in controlling this process and in stopping or allowing the process to continuously happen, which is the process of protein manufacture and performing the function. So how we could understand, or how we can simply understand what epigenetic is about and how can be explain it very simply. In twin biology, or we call it twin genetic, it's very easy to understand. An identical twin, they get born with the same 100% exact genetic material. But after a while, this identical twin came from the same family. One of them, let's say, goes and lives in the countryside. Another one is living inside a very crowded, very stressful city. So the one which lived in countryside had healthy food, doing very good physical activities. You see, whenever they face any disease, this disease will be cured, repaired, or treated very easily with very less pain. But the one which lives in a very stressful life is showing lots of different signs and symptoms, and the disease cannot be easily controlled. So, and when we are checking the genetic material, after 30 years or 40 years, nothing changed. So what changed in that individual that resulted in so many different results? I mean, diseases, disorders, and stuff. It's basically the epigenetic. So this epigenetic, which is a magic and works in magic way, is basically can be altered, changed through different stuff. We can start with the thing which we have it every day, food. For most of us, food is about pleasure or guilt for those who have overweighted a bit. Or sometime, if we go more beyond, someone who wants to stay fit, we are only thinking about the calorie. But how much calorie should I take so I should, it will help me to stay fit, not exceeding this calorie. But in molecular biology perspective, we consider food, we look at food as the information that tells our gene to behave good, or to make cancer, to make diabetes, to make blah, blah, blah. So there are a bunch of factors that this food which you are using every day will trigger the epigenetic to tell the cell, the DNA, to work in this manner. For example, someone eats vegetables, healthy food, and this will activate some DNA methylations for good genes. For example, in smooth muscles, there is a process that this smooth muscle can interchange or change it to a different type of cell, which we call it dendritic cell. That's very specific cell inside our blood vessels can control this blood vessel to stay still and avoid the problem of heart attack. But if we eat lots of junk food, with the same cell, smooth muscle will change and turns into stem-like cells, and that cell will change into macrophage-like cell. This macrophage-like cell will block, will stop, will make some scares inside the blood vessel, and will be resulted in heart attack. So the same pathway, but who started, which was a food, results in different stuff. One of them is healthy people, healthy person, and the other one, someone who just have heart attack because of food. Another activity, which we daily do it, movement. It's not only about doing lots of exercise and lots of different physical activities. Simple walk matters. Research have found out simple work is activating the genes that are taking the main role in repairing our body. We know that lots of injuries happen inside our body every day without stopping. And lots of cancer cells will be produced inside our body. But there are genes who stops and repairs this injury. And it's found out that the movement, the simple movement, walking for 30 minutes, can activate the repair gene, and this repair gene will activate the repair cells, so they are stopping the what's called injury inside the body. Another thing, which unfortunately most of the day we have, stress. 3 years ago, we have conducted a research on leukemia cases in Suleimania city, on the prevalence of leukemia, and who are the people who get this disease or who diagnosed with this disease. We found out that those people who have work, then they are working under the lots of stress, including the workers who are working in factories and having a very heavy work, thinking about how much money I can get for my family, for my kids and stuff, thinking about lots of stressful behaviors. They were first or top people who get leukemia. And surprisingly, the second group was not very happy for us as the academician, because the second group were academic people who worked at the university as a lecturer, as the professors, assistant professors. Why is it so? You know me better than me that academic people have lots of stressful work. Doing the lab works, administration works, lecturing, so many stuff that, yes, we are in the office, we are wearing nice suits and staying in our offices. There's no, thing that people consider it as a stress, but we know that we are under the stress. And unfortunately, this stress leads for different diseases, including cancer. So, epigenetic is something very strange. It is not a genetic material, but the strange thing is about epigenetic is that even it's not genetic material, means logically thinking and on genetic perspective of you thinking, this material shouldn't be inherited to the offspring. But unfortunately, this is not true. Epigenetic can inherit it as well. An experimental study on mice has shown the result very, very clearly. Some scientist has done an experimental study on mice and showed they have put some mice and they exposure to smell cherry blossom. And whenever these mouse, they have smelled this cherry blossom, very nice smell, they have electric shocked, which mice at that time, they feel that they are very stressed and something attacking them. Okay, so, and after doing this, repeating this experiment for a while, they let these specific mice to breed and to have new progeny. And what they have found was very interesting. Offsprings, whenever they see cherry blossom and the smell comes to them, they are directly runs. And more interesting fact was that the offspring of the offspring, so the grandchildren of the original mice, were having more stress and they were fear of cherry blossom more than even the second generation. So the epigenetic can be inherited. So I've delivered very annoying and, let's say, stressful topic, but there is a hope for that. Generally, we have mentioned that DNA always makes the product, and this product will be the case. But now we know that through epigenetic, this DNA can be controlled. The genes who are working bad can be stopped, and the genes who are working good can be enhanced, and they can make product so we can stay a healthy life, and even we can stop the coming diseases for our generation by doing physical activities, regular, having good foods, and so many other factors that can relate with epigenetic. And thank you very much.